All right, we're back with another grading video looking at 10 cards under $50 that are absolutely worth grading because the upside in a PSA 10 will absolutely be worth the price. Now, I've got 10 cards on this list today. We're looking at what is going to net us a couple of $100 worth of profit if we can score a PSA 10 so that you guys can go searching for some bargain raw cards and turn them into potential profit, which you can then sell onwards to add to your collection or just make a little bit of money out of the hobby, because we all know that grading is a great way to add to your, I guess, value of your collection, or even just make some extra cash on the side. So let's jump into card number one. But real quick, let's talk about today's video sponsor, which goes hand in hand with what we're talking about. All right, now I need to jump in here really quick and tell you about today's video sponsor, which is Sushi Grade. Now, Sushi Grade is a brand new website that I've been using recently. And when a lot of you guys ask me what I use for my pre-grading tools, as well as where I find potential profit opportunities for grading Pokemon cards, this is exactly what I've been doing. Now, if you go onto Sushi Grade's website, you're going to see this screen right here. And if we jump over to the grading tab, this is a fantastic tool now where you can use this to maximize your profits. So say, for example, here, we want to look at cards that have a raw price range of say $10 to $200, right? Perhaps you're balling on a budget. Now, we can see a whole bunch of cards here that you can buy raw for less than $200 and more than $10. It will also show you the PSA 9 and 10 values of these cards, which is fantastic because then you can check the far right-hand side column here to estimate what profit you will net if you score a PSA 10 in these cards. It also factors in the grading cost of $20 for PSA. And this is specific for PSA. You can change this to BGS and a whole bunch of others, but this is fantastic to be able to check what sort of profit you can be making off of these cards. Not only can you do that, but you can actually click on the card as well, and it will direct you straight to eBay where you can purchase listings of these specific cards that you're looking for. So this is the Paldean Fates Charizard. So if you guys want to use sushigrade.net, there is a free trial down in the link below. You can check my description and you'll find everything from there. Have a play around on the site. I've been using it lately and it's really, really helpful. So thank you again to Sushi Grade for sponsoring today's video. Okay, jumping into card number one, it is the Gengar Lost Origin Trainer Gallery. This card is probably one I don't have to introduce. A lot of people actually really love this card and are already aware of this card. It has been shooting up in price lately, so this one might not be on the under $50 list for much longer. There was a huge buyout here back at the end of July, but it seems to have just kept going up and up since then. So right now you can pick this card up for about 38 bucks, which I still think is a good price. I think trainer galleries are undervalued, and I think as we go forward, we'll see some of the more popular Pokemon that have trainer gallery cards start to increase. The Gengar being the start of that, right? But then you've also got ones like the Charizard, the Pikachu, and a whole bunch of other cool trainer galleries that people really like that are still super cheap. So I'm saying right now that I think that in the future, there's a chance that these could go up in value. The Gengar seems to be the first one doing that. So being 38 bucks, obviously a few months ago, you could have bought it for 15 and now it's sitting at the $38 mark. So that's the price for the raw card. Looking at the PSA 10 price though, you can net yourself around $400, even if you're lucky $500 selling through eBay. Now, one thing when you're selling through eBay, you got to keep in mind, they do take, I think it's 13% of whatever you sell the card for as their eBay seller fees. But if you're selling on places like Facebook Marketplace or local card shows, then you're probably looking at getting around $400 to $425 for what you sell, and you'll be able to keep the whole lot of it. So this is a really good card to grade right now, especially if you've got one with minty centering, and it is nice and clean on the surface and the corners as well, because they're the kind of things that you're looking for when grading cards. Number two on the list, Paldea Evolved Raichu Illustration Rare. Now, Paldea Evolved is notorious for bad centering, bad print quality, a whole bunch of other issues. So actually getting PSA 10s on anything from Paldea Evolved is extremely difficult. And there's another card on this list that we'll talk about in a minute that is also from the same set. But the Sleepy Raichu right now in a PSA 10 is a lot more than $55. This one's actually jumped. When I first set up this video to record it, this card was less than 50 bucks. So I don't know if they just updated the website, and I apologize, this one is over $50. So, but only just, it's still in the 50 range. It's $58. Literally like yesterday, you could have bought it for $47. So I don't know where the price spike came from A couple days ago, you could actually, yeah, get this for 47 bucks. However, now it's 58. So somebody's pumping it. Look at all the purchases here. Definite pump and dump. But I digress. PSA 10 versions, 570, 585, 560, 550, 524, everything over $500 for this card in a PSA 10. So even if it is $50 card or a $58 card, you're just about 9 or 10xing your profit for this card in a PSA 10. So if you've got one, again, that's minty clean, it's worth sending. Now, let's look at something a little bit more modern that's actually trending downwards for the raw card, which is the Lily's Determination from Mega Brave. Now, this is a Japanese card from the new Mega set. And I dare say that when Mega Evolution comes out in English, this card is going to be another one to keep an eye out for. So it is on the trend down, but there has been a lot of purchases since the price went down, sitting at $37 right now. Before launch of Mega Brave, it was sitting at like 70 bucks. Now it's about half that. So if you haven't picked it up yet and you're wanting a copy of this, the Japanese texturing on, especially on trainer cards, look way better than the English version anyways. But in saying that, you could grab this right now for 37 and in a PSA 10, ignoring this first one because that's a tag 10 and it seems unusually cheap for a Lily card specifically. But look at these two from PSA, $1,058 and $930. These have some huge price sales. Now, there is a bunch of sales here from other grading companies like Ace as well. They're sort of selling for around the 350 to 400 mark, although this one did go for almost 700. So take that as you will. Take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. Here's another PSA one that sold for 1,200. So I don't know if it's just the fact that PSA has a huge premium. Look, 1,500 on that one for this card, but the Ace one seems to be going for quite a bit less. This one is actually the cheapest one we've seen from PSA for 800 bucks. So Lily's Determination is a great one. If you can find it, get it sent off for grading and score yourself a 10. Now, jumping back to Paldea Evolved, this is the card I was talking about before. And again, it seems like Paldea Evolved has just jumped in the last couple of days because this was just under $50 the other day. It is now just over $50. So maybe I need to title this under $60 just to keep myself safe because a couple of these have actually spiked up recently. So Tyranitar being a $58 card, pretty much the same as the Raichu, is now going to net you 540, 420, 725. Where's some more PSA ones? That's PSA 9. PSA 10 here for 550, 430, 430, 540. So again, really, really valuable in a PSA 10. I've actually just gotten my own Tyranitar back from grading. Lucky me, scored myself a 10. And I've known this card has been worth a lot in 10 for a long time. That's why I sent it off. Now that I've got it back in the 10, I'm looking at a pretty nice profit, especially considering I just pulled it out of a pack myself. So as many packs of Paldea Evolved as I opened, I've probably just made my money back with the grading of this one. Next up is the Slowpoke from Scarlet Violet Base. This card was really popular a little while ago, same with another card on this list that we'll look at next, which is the Drowsy. The prices have kind of gone up and down on this one, not as drastically as the Drowsy has, but it is on the swing up now at $22, which is 33% up in the last few months. PSA 10 prices on this one, you're looking at $375, 400, 400, 330, 400, 325. So around about $350 market price for this one, if not maybe a little touch more. But again, the early Scarlet and Violet era sets are quite hard to grade. You know, Scarlet Violet Base, Paldea Evolved is probably the worst one, especially if you're trying to grade that Magikarp. I've sent it off twice now and got 9s both times, so I'm really sad about that. However, hopefully I'll score myself a 10 in that one at some point. But again, yeah, Scarlet Violet Base wasn't too great either. Looking at the Drowsy, again, it's rocketing up again in recent months, $32 now, but I remember there was a point where this card was just going absolutely bonkers. If we look at where's the huge spike here, look at the 1 year price, $63. I feel like it was even more than that at one point. I felt like it was going for like $80, $90 at one point, which was just absolutely ridiculous. But right now it's sitting at $32. Cool artwork, Gen 1 Pokemon, and PSA 10 prices, you're looking at 520, 500. There was a CGC 10, which went for 150, which is crazy. I don't know if that's maybe Japanese or not. But again, these other grading companies, so Tag had one sell in a 10 for 500, another one for 480, PSA for 535, PSA for 600. So you can see, again, there's some really good profit to be made here from these cards. So Mimikyu, Delta Species. This one is a Sword and Shield promo card that's gotten a lot of attention lately. And again, was a very, very cheap card, like $3 3 months ago. You could pick this card up for. It's now $19. So 431% up in the last 3 months, which is crazy. But looking at the PSA 10s, I mean, you've got a CGC Prestige 10 for $550 here. But let's see what we can find on PSA. $575 for PSA, $550, $355 here plus shipping, $360. So again, prices just astronomical for what was a $3 card a couple of months ago. Sticking with promos, we've got the Mewtwo illustration rare promo card from the Mew premium collection or ultra premium collection. The box had obviously the 2 Mew promos and the Mewtwo. This one, again, getting a lot of attention, 144% up in the last 3 months, sitting just under $40 right now. But if you jump to a PSA 10 version, $560, $530, $515. This one went for $700, bro. $700, $530. Obviously, that's an outlier, but $530. So you're easily clearing $500 with the Mewtwo in a PSA 10. Next up is the Arceus promo, or Arceus, however you want to say it. This one's up 142%. Dude, promo cards are just going bonkers right now, and I don't think there's any slowing them down. I don't know what's happening, if maybe the buyout communities are now targeting promo cards, but previously it was illustration rares. Who knows? But these promo cards are just going mental. This is a $30 card now. It used to be like $13 a couple months back. And if you were to get it in a PSA 10, look at this, $675. Most recent sold 2 days ago. 2 days ago, it sold for $675. 2 weeks ago, $680. $660. This was $728, but best offer accepted. So somewhere under $700 probably. Just under $700. $800. Oh my God. Look at this. If this isn't a sleeper, I reckon if I give you one sleeper card off this list, it is this Arceus. I feel like the profit margins on that is ridiculous. And keeping in mind, it's probably really hard to grade, and it's probably not going to grade a 10 easily. That's why there are such premiums on these cards. However, imagine if you picked up like 20 of these when they were $13. Matter of fact, let's check what it was at its cheapest a year ago. $4.79. I wish I was in the hobby when this was happening. This was $4.79 2 months before I started in the hobby. I should have bought it here. I should have bought it here for $5. I had the chance to, and I didn't. Oh well. If you imagine if you had picked up 20 of these and you graded them and maybe 50% of them got a 10, imagine what's the PSA 10 price? $800, $700. Let's say $700 to be safe, or $650. Let's say $650 to be safe, and 10 of them graded a 10. That's $6,500 that you've just made off spending. I don't know, what's 5 times 20? $100? That's the sleeper of this list for sure. That card goes crazy too. It's actually a really nice artwork that I do like. Look at this. So sick. A couple of other Pokemon in the artwork as well. Very cool. And last but not least is the Light Toxtricity, which is another Sword and Shield promo card. This one's up to just under $10 now, which is 637% up in the last 3 months. You used to be able to get this for $1.29, bro. $1.29 this card was going for, and guess what it goes for in a PSA 10? Yep, you're reading that correctly. $830. This one went for $790. They're just absolutely ridiculous. Now, there isn't a ton of sales on this one, I will say that. So take it with a grain of salt. This is the jumbo one that went for $500, which is also ridiculous. Okay, but then a CGC 10 went for $175. So again, PSA has the premium. They always will. But look at this, $830. I guess it's just a super low pop and it doesn't sell very often, or not many of them are being graded in 10s. So keep that in mind if you are sending this off. It's going to be very hard to actually get a 10 for this card. But with that said, I'm going to leave you guys there for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember, check out the video sponsor, Sushi Grade, so you can check out some of their software that they're actually using at the moment. You've got centering tools, you've got grading opportunities, and a bunch of other stuff on there. So shout out to them for sponsoring today's video, and I will see you guys next time.